Let me ask you something real quick. Have you ever come down with a cold or the flu right after the holidays? It always seems to happen right after the pumpkin pie, the Christmas cookies, or a little too much birthday cake. Suddenly your throat's scratchy, your nose is stuffy, and maybe you feel like you just hit a wall. Is this a coincidence? Not exactly. And today I want to tell you something that most people aren't fully aware of: the real relationship between sugar and your immune system. More specifically, how sugar affects your white blood cells, the ones that are supposed to protect you. What it does might surprise you, and it's worth understanding. As a naturopathic doctor and mom, sugar is a topic that comes up regularly, both in my practice and at home. While I'm not here to tell you to go sugar-free for life, I do think it's important to be aware of how certain choices either support or strain your immune system, especially if you're dealing with frequent colds, low energy, autoimmune flares, or chronic inflammation. By the end of this video, you're going to understand what sugar does to your white blood cells within minutes of eating it, why your immune system slows down after a sugar binge, how sugar creates a perfect storm for pathogens, and most importantly, how to still live your life without tanking your immune system every time you have a dessert. So let's get into it. Let's start with the soldiers of your immune system, your white blood cells. Think of them as your personal patrol team. They circulate throughout your body, scanning for invaders, viruses, bacteria, pathogens, and then attacking anything that doesn't belong. And here's the cool part. They're not just floating around passively. They chase invaders and eat them, literally. This process is called phagocytosis, where these cells engulf and digest harmful microbes. And you want these guys to be sharp, fast, and alert. But the moment refined sugar hits your system, your immune cells become sluggish and aren't able to work at full strength. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're doing great all fall season, eating clean, sleeping well, exercising, but then December rolls around and it's the peppermint mochas, holiday parties and drinks, late nights, and maybe some skipped workouts. One client I worked with shared, "I don't understand. I feel great most of the year, but by the week after Christmas, I always get sick or totally burnt out." When we looked closer, her daily sugar intake nearly quadrupled during the holidays, and that wasn't even counting all the extra stress and sleep disruption. Now, here's what's going on under the surface. After a high sugar meal, like that big slice of apple pie, your blood sugar, your blood glucose, spikes within about 30 minutes, and your pancreas scrambles to release insulin to try to manage that sugar. Meanwhile, a type of white blood cell, neutrophils, becomes up to 50% less effective at performing phagocytosis, where they eat the microbes, for several hours. That means your frontline defenders are moving slower, reacting less, and missing things they would normally catch. And if you're hitting those sugar spikes multiple times a day, fudge in the morning, hot cocoa in the afternoon, dessert after dinner, your immune system is basically trying to fight in slow motion back to back. And because things don't usually happen in isolation, layer that on top of dehydration, which thickens your mucus, lack of movement, which slows lymphatic flow, and poor sleep, which suppresses immune signaling. And you've got all these factors weakening your terrain, which is when your internal environment becomes overwhelmed, inflamed, and vulnerable. Putting the pieces together, it's understandable why this crash can happen right after the holidays. So within 30 minutes of consuming sugar, particularly refined sugar, which hits your system all at once, like the kind in sodas, cookies, or even fruit juice, the ability of your white blood cells to perform phagocytosis drops by up to 50%. And this is not just theory, it's backed by research. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that after ingesting 100 grams of sugar, which is about 3 cans of soda, the ability of neutrophils to engulf bacteria significantly decreased, and this effect lasted for up to 5 hours. Another review highlighted how hyperglycemia weakens innate immunity, including reduced neutrophil and macrophage function. So picture this for a second. You eat a bowl of ice cream or your kid has a big cupcake. Now for the next 4 to 6 hours, your immune system is running at half speed. It's like trying to protect a city with the police department taking a nap. This is why so many people get sick right after Halloween or after eating holiday desserts, because their immune system can't respond fast enough to handle viruses when they get in. Think of your immune system like your neighborhood sanitation crew. When things are running smoothly, good sleep, balanced meals, low stress, they're out there daily, quietly doing their job, clearing waste, keeping things tidy, making sure nothing builds up or attracts trouble. But think about what happens when the system starts getting overwhelmed. Sugar is like a surprise snowstorm and a traffic jam all at once. Now the cleanup crew can't keep up, so trash starts piling up, it starts to smell more appealing to rats, and streets become harder to navigate. That's your inner terrain when sugar When sugar keeps hitting your system, especially when you're already stressed, dehydrated, or sleep deprived, your body hasn't even had a chance to clear out the last load before another one drops. And by the time a virus comes along, your defenses are already stretched thin. Okay, so not only does sugar slow down your immune response, but it also creates an internal environment where certain pathogens like yeast and some bacteria can thrive. When there's excess glucose in the bloodstream, inflammation rises, those microbes can multiply more easily, and your inner terrain becomes more vulnerable, making your body more susceptible to illness. So, how much is too much? The American Heart Association recommends a daily sugar intake of no more than 25 grams for women, that's about 6 teaspoons of sugar, and 36 grams for men, or about 9 teaspoons, which is approximately 10% of your daily calories. Let's talk about inflammation also, because sugar doesn't just weaken your immune cells, it also creates confusion. The system communicates using chemical messengers called cytokines. And when you eat a lot of refined sugar, it triggers an exaggerated release of pro-inflammatory cytokines, basically setting off too many internal alarms at once. It's like sending out 100 fire trucks for just a small kitchen fire. The system gets overwhelmed, and instead of calm, targeted action, your immune response becomes overreactive but inefficient. So it's kind of ironic, right? Your immune system becomes louder but not smarter. Sugar causes it to release more inflammatory messengers, so it's shouting at everything. But at the same time, the actual immune cells that are supposed to fight infection become sluggish and less effective. So you're getting more immune noise, but less immune function. This kind of systemic inflammation distracts your immune system from doing its real job, which is identifying and eliminating problematic viruses and bacteria. Another way to view this is your immune system as a GPS. So when inflammation is high, it's like the signal gets confused. The GPS still wants to help, but now it's rerouting you down complicated roads, giving unclear directions, or telling you to make a U-turn when you're almost there. Chronic high sugar intake can keep your immune system in this disoriented state for days or longer if it becomes a regular habit. The good news is when you give your body what it needs, it recovers quickly. My clients often feel better after going sugar-free for a few days. Their sinuses and brain fog clear up and energy comes back because now their immune systems can breathe and function properly. It simply requires awareness. The next time you have a full week of sugar, you can ask, did I drink enough water today? Did I balance my meals with healthy protein, fat, or fiber? Have I moved and exercised my body? And for that deeper holistic inquiry, was I choosing those sweets from a mindful place or trying to detract from a deeper mental or emotional struggle? All of these help us become more self-aware and understand how to best support our terrain and overall health and wellness. Let's talk about one more layer, stress. Not only does our body's stress response directly impact our immune function, but it can also drive some of our eating patterns. When we're tired, overwhelmed, emotional, or staying up celebrating, all that stress raises cortisol. And cortisol, just like sugar, lowers immune function. So now you've got sugar decreasing phagocytosis, which remember is where your white blood cells eat up the bad guys, cortisol lowering white blood cell production, more inflammation, and less resilience. And this is how people find themselves in a cycle. Get stressed, eat sugar, get sick, feel worse, crave more sugar, and repeat. But there is a way out, and it's not about cutting everything out. It's about supporting your terrain. So now you know what sugar is doing in your body. Let's talk about what you can do. Here are 5 things I recommend. Number 1, balance your sugar with fiber and fat. If you're going to have something sweet, try pairing it with a handful of nuts, chia pudding, or an avocado-based dessert. This slows that glucose spike and protects your immune system and overall health. And you can refer back to my video on glucose spikes for more information. Number 2, stay hydrated. Sugar dehydrates your cells and thickens your mucus. Sip water throughout the day, especially around high sugar meals. Number 3, support your detox pathways. Ensure proper elimination through sweating from movement, regular bowel movements supported by fiber and hydration, and deep breathing. Number 4, add immunity supportive foods daily. Garlic, ginger, turmeric, bone broth, leafy greens. Make them a non-negotiable even when you indulge. Number 5, practice sugar-aware seasons. Maybe in the holiday months, you're adding in a little bit more extra immune support, or you choose 2 to 3 key days to indulge and be mindful to avoid excess sugar on the other days. None of this has to be extreme. However, you want to start to view sweet treats differently once you truly understand how they affect your white blood cells, how it slows them down, impairs your immune system, and makes it easier for you to get sick. But once you understand the truth about sugar's effect on your white blood cells, you can view those sweet treats in another light and with some more context. The intent is to make decisions with greater knowledge, confidence, and mindful choice. So let's do a quick recap. Your white blood cells are your immune system's warriors. Sugar slows them down fast. It weakens your natural defenses for hours after consumption. It creates the ideal environment for inflammation and pathogens to thrive. And when you combine sugar with stress, dehydration, and lack of sleep, that's usually the perfect storm for getting sick. But none of this means you can't ever enjoy dessert again. It means you can be more mindful of your choices. You now know how to support your terrain and immune cells. And that's what we're all about on this channel, deep understanding of how your body works and how to keep it well. If you found this helpful, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications for more content on supporting your natural immunity and holistic health. And if you want my free immune support guide, you can download that below in the description. Until next time, stay curious, stay well, and support your wise and wonderful body. See you soon.